Welcome to the Velvet Story, where every chapter pulls you deeper into forbidden desire, dangerous secrets, and a love that defies rules. Tonight, we return to The Best Man's Vows, a story where one wrong step could mean scandal, and one almost kiss could change everything. So settle in, because this chapter will leave you breathless. Chapter 27, The Almost Kiss. The gala had officially ended, but the Astoria Grand's marble corridors still pulsed with lingering chatter. Guests trickled out toward waiting limousines, laughter echoing off vaulted ceilings. Sophia had perfected her polite smile hours ago. Now her cheeks ached from keeping it in place. She needed air. Slipping away from the ballroom, she walked briskly down a quieter hallway, heels tapping against marble. She knew this hotel well. She'd attended half her life's events here and instinctively headed for the garden terrace at the back, a place most guests forgot existed. The terrace was quiet when she stepped outside. Lanterns glowed softly among ivy-wrapped trellises, and the fountain at the center murmured with gentle water. The cool night air kissed her skin, carrying a faint scent of roses. She exhaled, letting her shoulders relax for the first time that night. Leaving without a proper goodbye? Sophia turned. Ethan leaned against the stone archway, tuxedo jacket draped over his arm, tie loosened just enough to make him look devastatingly effortless. His smile was lazy, but his eyes, those sharp, unreadable eyes, were fixed entirely on her. She folded her arms. "You're stalking me now?" "Not stalking, strategically relocating." He stepped closer, the gravel crunching softly under polished shoes. "You looked like you were about to explode back there. Thought you could use backup." "I don't need backup." "Maybe not, but even generals accept reinforcements when the battle's worth it." She arched her brow, fighting the tug at her lips. "And you're comparing a charity gala to a battlefield. You looked like you were fighting for your sanity. Close enough." His grin was infuriating and magnetic. She turned away, pretending to examine the fountain, though her pulse betrayed her composure. "You enjoy this, don't you? Making everything sound so light, like nothing touches you." Ethan's voice softened. "And you hate it because everything touches you." The words hit deeper than she expected. She glanced back, startled, but he wasn't smirking now. His gaze was steady, as though he saw past her armor. Sophia swallowed. "You don't know me." "Maybe not all of you." His tone was quiet, serious. "But I know you carry too much alone, and I know you laugh differently when you forget the weight for 5 seconds. That's the version of you I can't stop wanting to see again." Her chest tightened. Dangerous words. Dangerous honesty. She should deflect. Laugh. Step away. But she couldn't move. Ethan closed the distance slowly, deliberately, until he stood only a breath away. His cologne wrapped around her, clean, warm, with an undertone she couldn't name, but had already memorized. "Careful," she whispered, heart hammering. "Someone might see." "I don't care who sees," he murmured back. The air between them crackled, so thick it felt alive. His hand brushed against hers at the railing, barely there, but enough to make her skin tingle. He tilted his head, eyes dropping to her lips for a fraction of a second before finding hers again. Sophia's breath caught. Her mind screamed at her to stop this, to remember her father, to gossip, the risks. But her body leaned in before she realized it. Ethan's lips hovered dangerously close, close enough that the warmth of his breath ghosted across her mouth. His eyes held hers, silent, waiting, respecting the line, letting her choose. And she wanted to choose him. Her heart thundered as she tipped forward. "Ms. Laurent." The voice shattered the spell. Sophia jerked back, spinning toward the archway. An assistant in hotel livery stood awkwardly holding a clipboard. "Your driver is ready whenever you are?" Sophia forced composure, though her chest heaved. "Thank you. I'll be there shortly." The man nodded and retreated, oblivious to the storm he'd interrupted. Silence fell, heavy, charged. Ethan straightened slowly, his jaw tight. He didn't look frustrated. No, worse. He looked patient, as though interruptions were inevitable, but meaningless in the long game. Sophia's hands clenched against the railing. She should walk away. She should reclaim control. Instead, she whispered, "That shouldn't have happened." Ethan tilted his head, eyes locked on hers. "It didn't happen. But it will." Her heart slammed against her ribs. And then, without waiting for an answer, he turned and walked back into the hotel, leaving her breathless under the lanterns, every nerve alight. For the first time in years, Sophia Laurent wasn't sure she wanted to win the battle, because she was starting to suspect she'd already lost the war.
Chapter 28. The Forced Weekend Getaway. The Laurent wedding machine was supposed to be flawless. It had planners, assistants, spreadsheets, even a military-grade timeline, which was exactly why Sophia Laurent was scowling at her phone in the back seat of a town car, glaring at an email that threatened the whole charade. "Tell me I'm hallucinating," she muttered. Ethan Cole leaned over, impossibly relaxed for someone who had just spent the last half hour stuck in Manhattan traffic. Unless your phone is now sending you romance novels by mistake, I'd say no." She angled the screen toward him, as though daring him to fix it with his trademark smirk. "Urgent. Venue request representatives attend on-site retreat to finalize final details. Bride and groom, unavailable. Please confirm attendance. Maid of honor, plus best man." Sophia's jaw clenched. This has to be a joke. The bride and groom are skipping their own planning retreat? Ethan's grin widened. "Guess that makes us the unlucky substitutes." She sat back with a groan. "No, absolutely not. I have board meetings, investor calls, a product launch, and I have 3 cities worth of hotel projects waiting on me," Ethan interrupted smoothly. "But apparently, fate thinks we'd be more useful stuck in the countryside together, sorting out napkin colors." Sophia's head whipped toward him. "Did you just say napkin colors, as if that's trivial?" "Oh, no," Ethan deadpanned, eyes sparkling. "Heaven forbid I underestimate the global crisis of choosing between ivory and eggshell." Her glare could have melted steel. His grin only grew. Arrival chaos. The venue retreat turned out to be a sprawling estate 2 hours outside the city, complete with manicured gardens, stone terraces, and an absurd amount of swans floating across a private lake. Sophia stepped out of the car, heels clicking on gravel, and immediately scanned the grounds like a general entering enemy territory. "This could have been an email," she muttered darkly. Ethan stretched beside her, rolling his shoulders like he owned the entire estate. On the contrary, Laurent, this has Spa Weekend written all over it." Inside, a hurried coordinator welcomed them with a clipboard smile. "Oh, wonderful, you're here. There's just one tiny hiccup." Sophia's eyes narrowed. Define tiny. "Well, due to a last-minute booking conflict, there's only one suite available." Sophia froze. Ethan's brows shot up, and then, inevitably, his grin returned in full force. "You've got to be kidding me," Sophia said flatly. The coordinator winced. It's a spacious suite, 2 bedrooms, shared lounge, perfect for collaboration." Ethan slid a look at her, voice low enough for only her. "See? Collaboration. That's our specialty." Sophia inhaled slowly, counted to 5, and promised herself she would survive this weekend without throttling him. Comedy of space. The suite was luxurious. Vaulted ceilings, gilded mirrors, a marble fireplace. And yet, within minutes of arrival, it became a war zone. "Did you seriously just put your shoes on the coffee table?" Sophia demanded. Ethan, sprawled across the sofa like a cat who had claimed the territory, wiggled his toes. "They're Italian leather. Consider it a decorative centerpiece." "Consider it barbaric," she snapped, swooping in to snatch them off the table. Later, in the bathroom hallway, "Why is there steam coming from my side of the suite?" Sophia asked suspiciously. Ethan emerged, towel slung low on his hips, utterly unbothered. "Because, darling, there's only one shower with water pressure worth using. You're welcome." She turned on her heel so fast her hair whipped. "Boundaries, Cole." "Perfectly intact," he said cheerfully. "I locked the door, didn't I?" That night at dinner, they discovered another hiccup. The estate kitchen had only prepared one private meal service, assuming they were a couple. Sophia stared at the candlelit table set for 2. Unbelievable. Ethan pulled out her chair with exaggerated gallantry. "Well, if the universe insists on romance." "Sit down before I stab you with a breadstick." Tender moments. Despite herself, Sophia found the edges of her irritation softening by the second night. The estate had a way of lulling them. Quiet gardens, stars spilling across the countryside sky, the low crackle of the suite's fireplace. They ended up sharing the lounge, Sophia curled in an armchair with her laptop, Ethan lounging with a book. For nearly an hour, they worked in silence. Comfortable silence. It unnerved her. Finally, Ethan closed his book. "You know what I think?" Sophia didn't look up. "That napkin color actually does matter. That you don't know how to relax," he said simply. Her head snapped up. "Excuse me?" "Case in point, you're in an estate with swans and starlight, and you're answering emails at midnight? I run a company." "And I run 5, he countered, leaning forward, his tone softer now. "But I still know when to put the damn phone down." She bristled, but the worst part was, she knew he was right. When she didn't reply, Ethan just smiled, that infuriating, patient smile. "It's okay, Laurent. I'll teach you." "Teach me what?" she asked warily. He held her gaze, voice steady. How to breathe. Something warm slipped through her chest at that. Dangerous. Cliffhanger end. By the third night, a storm rolled in. Power flickered across the estate, plunging their suite into darkness. Sophia jumped when the lights cut out. Perfect. Just perfect. "Relax," Ethan's voice came from the other side of the room. A moment later, the glow of his phone flashlight appeared, casting his face in soft light. "See? Crisis averted." She crossed her arms. "I don't like the dark." "Good thing you've got company," he said lightly, but the undertone was serious, protective. They ended up sitting near the fireplace, a single lantern between them, rain pounding against the windows. The world outside felt distant, irrelevant. Sophia hugged her knees to her chest. This is ridiculous. 2 billionaires stranded like teenagers at summer camp. Ethan's laughter rumbled low. "Speak for yourself. I was never this lucky at summer camp." Their eyes met. The air shifted. Closer than they should be, shadows flickering across their faces, thunder rumbling like a drumbeat under the silence. For one suspended heartbeat, Sophia hoped he would lean in, but Ethan only tipped his head, smile tugging at his lips.
Careful, Laurent. This forced getaway might actually make you like me." Her breath caught, and for once she didn't have a comeback. The storm raged outside. Inside, the fire crackled, and Sophia realized she was in more trouble than ever.
Chapter 29. The Rehearsal Disaster. The Laurent wedding rehearsal had been designed to impress. The cathedral was lit like a movie set, sunlight spilling through stained glass in ribbons of ruby and sapphire. Every seat gleamed with white cushions, every aisle lined with roses, so flawless they looked artificial. Dozens of vendors, planners, assistants, and society journalists buzzed through the air like bees in a manic hive. It should have been perfect, which, naturally, meant it was doomed the second Sophia and Ethan walked in. The entrance. Sophia arrived early, clipboard in hand, heels sharp enough to puncture egos, ready to whip the rehearsal into shape. She didn't trust anyone else. Not the wedding planner, not the coordinator, and certainly not Ethan Cole, who was due to show up fashionably late with his grin and his infuriating lack of stress. Except, he wasn't late. When Sophia stepped inside, he was already at the altar, speaking to the officiant like an old friend, gesturing broadly as though he'd been running rehearsals his whole life. She stopped short. "What are you doing?" He turned, all golden charm and unbothered elegance. "Delegating." "You don't delegate. You interfere." "Correction," he said smoothly. "I rescue. Big difference." Sophia opened her mouth to argue, but was cut off by a shriek from the choir loft as an entire row of sopranos dropped their sheet music in unison. He winked at her. "See? Chaos follows you, Laurent." "Me?" she snapped. "You're the one turning this into open mic night." Everything fell apart. It began small. First, the ring bearer tripped over his shoelaces and catapulted the velvet ring pillow into the air. Ethan lunged, caught it mid-flight like a baseball player saving the inning, and bowed dramatically as the crowd clapped. "Don't encourage them," she hissed. Then the flower girl dumped her entire basket of petals in one spot at the back of the aisle and refused to move. Ethan crouched to her level, whispering something that made her giggle uncontrollably. Within seconds, she was skipping down the aisle again, except now she threw petals directly at Ethan's head as she passed. Sophia pinched the bridge of her nose. This is a rehearsal, not slapstick theater. But the final blow came when the sound system malfunctioned. Instead of soft organ music, the speakers blared a bass-heavy pop remix. The bride's mother nearly fainted, the planner flailed, and Ethan grabbed Sophia's hand and twirled her. "Dance with me, Laurent," he said over the pounding beat. She jerked back. "Absolutely not." But he was already pulling her closer, his grin devilish. And somehow, despite herself, her feet moved. One spin, 2 steps, her laugh escaped before she could stop it, echoing in the vaulted cathedral while onlookers gawked. The chaos swirled around them, petals flying, music blaring, vendors panicking, and in the center of it all, Sophia and Ethan danced like they'd been born to. The fallout. When the speakers finally cut and silence fell, the entire rehearsal was staring at them. Sophia froze, pulse hammering. Ethan didn't look embarrassed at all. He only squeezed her hand before letting go, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The planner cleared her throat, pale but determined. "Well, I think we need to reset," Sophia muttered. "We need an exorcism." Ethan leaned down, voice low against her ear. "Admit it, that was fun." She turned to glare at him, except the heat rushing through her wasn't anger. It was worse. Far worse. Because somewhere between catching pillows and dancing in chaos, she had stopped seeing Ethan as the infuriating best man and started seeing him as... No, she couldn't finish the thought. Not here, not with everyone watching. But she knew, deep in her chest, that the disaster hadn't been a disaster at all. It had been revelation. And that terrified her more than any headline could. Cliffhanger. As the rehearsal disbanded in chaos, Sophia gathered her things with sharp, controlled motions.
Ethan leaned casually against the pew beside her, hands in his pockets. You know, if this is how we handle a fake wedding, I can't wait to see how we survive the real thing. Sophia froze, slowly turned. What real thing? His smile was infuriatingly unreadable. Patience, Laurent. You'll see. Her heart stumbled. She hated how much she wanted to know what he meant. End of chapter 29. And that was today's chapter of The Best Man's Vows, only here on The Velvet Story. With just one final chapter and the epilogue left, the end is almost here. The passion, the choices, the vows, everything has been leading to this moment. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and don't miss the dramatic conclusion. The finale is coming, and it will change everything.